All right, Miles, let's talk about the LSU Tigers. This is a team that I think is climbing up a lot of people's boards right now in terms of how they're going to stack in the SEC, frankly, in the country. They've got a lot of great playmakers, both on offense and defense. Quarterback returning, Coach Kelly's doing a phenomenal job. But we've got a great report out of training camp for the LSU Tigers about a guy who's kind of breaking out, kind of an underrated playmaker that's becoming an X factor for this team.
Yeah, Nick, I think this guy is going to be phenomenal for the Tigers. I think he's really going to have his biggest year yet for them. I think he's truly going to make an impact on this team. But we're talking about the Tigers. We're talking about this coming season. LSU fans in the comment section below today, we want to know, what game are you the most looking forward to watching this season? There's a lot of great rivalry games out there. Maybe some new opponents you don't see as often, but let us know in the comment section below. What game are you most looking forward to this season? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But Nick, let's get on into it. Who is this X Factor at LSU?
Miles, let's jump right into it. If you want to go ahead and throw up the report, this is from the Death Valley Voice highlighting this. I will read from it. On Sunday, a few days ago now, LSU football posted a practice highlight that offered a glimpse of what makes the 2023 offense a more explosive unit. Indeed, I'm talking about an emerging X factor that projects as an impact player. That player is wide receiver Aaron Anderson, great name, who, by the looks of it, is already connecting with quarterback Jane Daniels. Anderson missed spring practices while recovering from a minor procedure to remove scar tissue in his knee. Suffice it to say, seeing the redshirt freshman in pads and scorching LSU football defense at practice is like a shot of espresso. That's phenomenal writing at the Death Valley Voice. Anderson looks confident and fast. Also, we anticipate offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock is cooking up multiple ways to get Anderson the ball in the open field. By the looks of it, feeding the speeds or slot screens is already in the LSU football playbook. All right, in the days that have passed since his initial report, we've seen a lot more out of Anderson, him making big plays, him being explosive, being involved in the offense. And look, I think this is one of the important things to remember about any contending team. And we see it all the time, especially in the SEC. Everybody, in terms of the top contenders, have one or two great receivers, have a good quarterback, have a good defense, have a good coach. It's sometimes those third tier guys, those number 3 or number 4 weapons that can make all the difference. That was why those Tua teams, when they had Alabama Tua teams, were so tough because they had like 4 wide receivers. That's why the Joe Burrow teams were so good that one year at LSU, because they had an army of offensive weapons. You need a lot of these guys to win national titles. That's just the way it is. And if Anderson can be the next weapon in line for LSU, and it looks like he will be, that'll be an awesome addition to an already very potent offense.
Yeah, Nick, I think this guy truly is special. He is a speedster, and when you get him in space, it is over. He is so elusive. He is a threat to take it to the house anytime he wants to. Let's take a look back at the beginning of his senior season back in 2021. He started that season off, the first game of the season, coming out against a high school called John Curtis. He ran 3 kickoffs back for a touchdown in that one game alone. This guy is electric. He is the definition of a playmaker. And now that I think he's back 100% ready to go, he could be the difference maker. Like they said, the X factor for this LSU offense. This guy is legit speed. He is sub 11 second 100-meter runner guy. He's done it like 6-7 times in competition. So it wasn't just like a one-off. Someone ran like a 10.97 and said, oh, I'm a sub 11 second guy. This guy's done it multiple times. He's done it in the biggest competitions as well. He did it in the 4A state track championship as well. So this guy can perform under pressure. I love this guy. I think he's going to be a very, very good asset for Jaden Daniels and just helping improve this LSU team to be back to the contenders we all know they are. I think this team is scary good. Everyone's looking at Georgia. Everyone's looking at Alabama, and rightfully so. Those are 2 very good teams, but I'm looking at LSU because I think this team is just as good.
I think they're actually more stable. I think there's a good chance they're better. Because if you look at the top 4 teams in the SEC, right? You go Georgia, you go Alabama, you go Tennessee, and you go LSU, right? I think that's a fair list. Tennessee, new starting quarterback. Alabama, new starting quarterback. Georgia, new starting quarterback, right? LSU, returning starting quarterback, right? More stability, right? Keeping the solid team they already had in place last season, and they're just adding on to it, right? Those other 3 programs are trying to rebuild and revamp and refigure out their offenses, obviously with all their new quarterbacks. LSU, they're just adding to it. They're getting better already off a very strong baseline, while their top 3 competitors are trying to retool what they're doing. That doesn't mean it's going to be a cakewalk, right? The SEC is always going to be absolutely brutal, but I think the fact that LSU isn't the favorite to win the SEC West and they're not as good as Georgia, I think that's a gross misunderstanding. I think people aren't understanding how good LSU under Daniels, under Coach Kelly is going to be in 2023, and additional weapons like Anderson adding into the mix will just make them even better.